Maybe I should start by sharing a bit of the reality check that has been gifted to us by the uprising in Bangladesh last summer. I think we learned, and again, without taking away the achievements of Bangladesh over multiple decades, that certainly in recent years, an obsession with headline GDP growth numbers has masked imbalances underneath, which have then exposed the lack of resilience to the development model. So the fact that GDP is not only reductionist, but it can be dangerous if not looked in its context, this was brought into sharp relief. If I think of just what were the deficiencies, three very quick ones. The first one is that it has not been inclusive in any sense of the word. Inclusive in the process of policymaking, inclusive in the fruits of policymaking. And I think the lesson for the world at large is that you exclude at your peril if you're not taking that as a design consideration. The second is that we didn't really look at the second-order effects. The drivers of growth, everyone talks about infrastructure as being required, but heavy infrastructure, mega projects are also conduits of mega looting, huge corruption in that space. But you see the visible construct, the bridges and the roads, and you probably ignore the economic crime that can get away underneath it. And thirdly, I think we do not spend enough time looking at government and governance institutions as being part of the problem. We are part of the problem by design, not just an exogenous thing that the rest of the economy will have to work with. We have to, I don't like the word in general, but decolonize extractive institutions that operate in very modern ways. The instruments, the institutions of governance, they need to be changed in very practical ways. And you mentioned the new trilemma, the buzzword here in Davos. It echoes to me the three zeros that Professor Muhammad Yunus has been talking about for some time, which I think is relevant as a bit of a yardstick for what to aim for policy when it comes to development. So the three zeros, he talks about zero poverty, so we've got to keep an eye on what's going on there. Zero net carbon emission, a proxy for the fact that we have to be stewards of the environment, otherwise it comes to back to haunt you. And then zero concentration, whether it's concentration of wealth, concentration of power. This zero concentration is something that I think is hugely important. When I look at the anatomy of corruption at a retail level, it occurs when a public official has huge concentration of power in that moment, when someone, usually a poor citizen, requires that permit, requires that license in that moment, and has no recourse if the official doesn't respond in time. Those concentrations of power we need to do away with. And then finally, to link back to what Nick was saying, and actually everyone else was saying, that the investment imperative requires, as a necessary condition, structural reforms. We don't have any ammunition on the monetary policy front. You can't print your way out of this anymore. There's very little by way of tax rises that you can do. So what do structural reforms mean? It means injecting more dynamism. It's removing regulations that are not fit for purpose, introducing digitalization, not only to enhance efficiency, but also to remove those manual processes that breed corruption. And you could get more more revenue for the government without just focusing on taxes, because at the moment we not only tax people's money, we tax people's energies, we tax their hopes, and we tax their dreams in their day-to-day operations because of the way government operates. And then finally, I think if we get this right, as you know, this interim government is there mainly to enact structural reforms. If we get it right, then I think Bangladesh will be a prototype for basically an ESG investment in the way it was intended to be, because of the uplift of standards that we're going to see on the environmental, social, and governance side of things.
All right, as a minister, maybe you would like to respond to that.
Thank you very much, Siddiqi. And I think you've really